Good morning, everybody. Welcome back in. Today starts part 2 of our video series. It's our Svalbard adventure. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome for the first time. I'm so glad to have you here. Our day 2 adventure kicks off today. This part 2 of the vlog is going to focus on the 3-day base camp tour, which actually starts this morning. So what that looks like is a day of hiking, a day of glacier walking, and then a day of kayaking. The participants are expected to help set up camp, pitch tents, and also looking to help cook meals and clean dishes. And perhaps the most important aspect is that the participants, including the guide, have to help with polar bear watch. Yep, you heard me correctly. We have to take turns and trade off in shifts to watch out for polar bears even throughout the night, just to keep our camp safe. Not sure what that involves or what that entails, but this is going to be a learning experience and I can't wait to get started. Let's not waste any more time. They're going to be here in just a little bit to pick me up, so let's get going.
We are an odd number,
Yeah.
so then maybe I will go with one of you. And then you pack your things into the compartments. Before we go, like we haven't talked about with the rifle, kind of how we carry it. So now it is in this red bag, and we have it, Nico will have it on his back. And the way that we carry it is that it is half loaded, and that means that it's bullets in the magazine, but not in the chamber.
Yeah.
So we need full bolt action for it to be able to shoot. So we have done like a dry click and it is empty.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would say so.
It stopped raining.
Do we look ready?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. So.
We came to play.
What's up, everybody? Hope you're enjoying the video. Just wanted to check in. I'm doing an actual polar bear watch. That's part of this experience. We have to trade off taking turns on polar bear watch. So during the day, a 5-minute timer goes off and it's the next person's turn to go watch for polar bears for 5 minutes. That's what I'm doing right now. And we're told, I'm looking around right now, and we're told that actual bears do wander into this camp. And then overnight, we have to take turns in shifts during the night watch, and those are much longer, going to be about an hour for each person, where we have to just stand out here and do a real polar bear watch. This is real life and death stuff. And if we see one, then we run and get the guide, who's armed and has flares. More on this later. Good morning, everybody. Today is day 2 of our base camp adventure. We arrived here yesterday, as you saw, and I'm going to put the name of the town right here on the screen because I cannot pronounce it, but we are definitely getting the full extent of the wilderness experience. So this has been very interesting. Learned a lot about the polar bear watch and what that's all about. Gonna get more into that in just a moment. Currently, it's a little chilly and it's been quite rainy on our first day here. The locals have told me that the amount of rain that they've been having the last 2 summers is actually quite unusual. They think that's attributed to the climate change. So as for life here in camp, you can see behind me, people are currently sleeping right now. So you can see right here, there's 5 tents where people are staying. That's where we're sleeping. Right here is our big tent. That is basically where we have all of our gatherings, all of our meals. And then right there, that tent is our bathroom. This is certainly polar bear country. The polar bear watch is no joke. We've been informed by our guide many times about the importance of it. For example, we were sitting at dinner last night, and we're all sitting there laughing, having a good time, and then as we're winding down for bed, it got a little serious. Okay, guys, polar bear watch. What we do during the day is different than what we do at night. During the day, we're all together at all times in the base camp. There's a 5-minute timer that is repeatedly going, and when that goes off, we take turns in walking outside here and then just taking a quick spin of our surroundings all the way around. If we don't see anything, we go back inside, and then we reset the timer, and then it goes off again in 5 minutes, and it's the next person's turn. At night, however, since everyone's trying to sleep, we actually divide up the sleeping night evenly among all the participants that are here. So it's not only just the 2 guides that are part of the tour, but also all the participants take shifts and take turns in their polar bear watch. And we basically just stand out here. For us, it was about an hour and a half per person. So mine is from 4 a.m. to 5:30, and At the end of that shift, I wake up the next person and I stay outside my tent until they come outside to really make sure that they actually wake up and start their shift. The guide told us that he's had times where people will wake up the next person and go right to bed, and then that other person, the second person, accidentally falls asleep, and then the whole thing is a domino effect. The next person doesn't get woken up, and then all the way up until morning. So in the event that we actually see a polar bear, or potentially a sign of a polar bear, which could just be something like a bunch of birds freaking out or something, we need to take a pause for like 10 seconds if it's distant to track like where it's actually going. It actually doesn't help to like spot it and then instantly panic and run for the tents. We want to watch it for a few seconds to figure out where it's going, and then at that point we want to go alert the guide, and we say, hey, there's a bear out here, this is where I saw him, this is where he was going. And then basically the guide comes out, and the first thing that we do is we see if the bear is interested in us or not. If we watch its behavior and it's just, let's say it's over there on the other coastline and just walking along the coastline, we'll just watch it. Second, if it starts coming towards us, then we try to move and basically try and stay out of the way of the bear. Third, if that doesn't work, then we have flare guns, and we set those off to try and scare the bear away from the area. And the absolute last line of defense is that we have a rifle on hand. We don't want to kill the bear. That is the absolute last line of defense. The guy did tell us that he's never had to kill a bear. That is a very rare occurrence, I would say. The other interesting precaution that's taken anytime we're leaving camp, they set up a perimeter around the large tent where all the food is. It's about 1 meter away. There's a really thin rope, and it's tied to flares. So if there's a bear wandering around in our camp and it tries to wander into the tent, it'll trip the flares and set them off.
By this, and also he gets scared. If you hear a big bang, tell me. It means that the bear is in the camp.
Okay.
So it is also to alert us that there is a bear in the camp.
So just to be clear, we haven't seen any polar bears. Polar bears do wander into this camp. Our guide has seen them before. He said the last time was about 4 months ago. So that's enough to know that the threat is actually real. It's been raining quite a bit. That might be the biggest challenge so far. Anyone that's been camping before knows that when it's raining, that staying dry is super important, especially when it's this cold. And I believe everyone here has extra sets of clothes, one set of wet clothes, one set of dry clothes. We always keep the dry set of clothes. That way we have something warm and comfy to sleep in, and we're not getting all of our clothing wet. Okay, well, now it's time for me to go back to bed for a little bit longer. I know it looks so bright out, but it is only 5:45 in the morning. Breakfast is at around 10 o'clock, so I'm going to try and get a little bit more sleep because my watch is over at this point. I hope you learned something here. Alright, nice and warm, all packed up back in my sleeping bag. Time to get a few more hours of shut-eye. I'll see you guys for breakfast in a few hours. rain is starting to let up a little bit, which is making this whole experience a lot more enjoyable. When it rains, it just gets 5 times harder to try and stay dry, because once you're wet, that's when you get cold really quickly. But anyway, we had our breakfast this morning. Our plan now, it's about noon right now, and the rain is still drizzling a little bit. The forecast looks like it's gonna be cloudy, at least in the afternoon. So that's gonna give us a chance to go check out the glacier. By the way, the glacier is right there. We're gonna go climb that. So with the glacier right there, we're gonna go ice climbing and glacier walking. So that should be a really fun experience. Right now, we're just waiting for the rain to clear up and living the camping life where time doesn't exist and sipping on my coffee. Cheers.
We going now? We are going to find some wall, maybe not too big, not too small, just a normal size, so that maybe, because we can't just sit and enjoy the view, but in the same time I want to enjoy the view. So let's find a place where we can do some ice climbing while we enjoy the view, because the climbing will be one by one, so then we can just stay and just absorb all this scenery while the others do climbing. Okay for you? Penetrate more, so they have a very good grip, so you don't have to go crazy like bam.
Here we are, night number 2 of the polar bear watch. We decided to change up the shifts today, so I decided to take the first shift, which was 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. So here I am, fulfilling my part, bring you guys in at this time one more time just to really experience as much as you can the true unfiltered wild wilderness that we're in. I kind of had an interesting conversation with a guide today, and we were kind of discussing about how different this camp experience is compared to most camping experiences that you can have, in other places of the world. And this one is quite unique because of the polar bear aspect. But more on that in just a second. More on the polar bear. My discussion with the guide today, he was pointing out how some people don't really grasp the situation, and they show up to this camp not really taking the risk of the polar bear seriously, which is a huge mistake because we're out in the wilderness and there's literally nothing here. There's no cell service, there's no emergency services, and if a threat comes upon us, we have to use the guide's survival skills in order to navigate that situation. He has the proper training and everything, but it's still a situation that you should take seriously. And sometimes people can come into a situation like that thinking, oh, I can handle it, I can get it, or I have experience in camping, or I've had bear encounters before, whatever. But when you come to a professional camp experience like this, and you're dealing with guides who do this every single day for how many years, it's important to listen to their instruction, because they're the guide for a reason. They're the professional. So when he sits you down and says, this polar bear is no joke, you tend to take that seriously. You don't really feel that in most tours that you do when you come to Svalbard. Svalbard in general is already a filter of its own, because most people who travel here tend to be like a type of outdoors type person where they enjoy the nature and the outdoors and potentially are looking for a harsh environment like this intentionally. So that's filter number 1. But filter number 2 is this tour specifically is really unique because most of the tours you can do here are from boats or some sort of protected space where if you see a polar bear, for example, from a boat and you're out on the water, it's not threatening because you're in the safety of a boat and the bear is on land just looking at you. Whereas if you're in this camp here, you actually need to react to that. And it could be life and death. And not only that, just like what I'm doing right now, everybody else is sleeping. I'm the only one awake. I'm the first and really only line of defense of a first sighting of a polar bear in the area. Super big responsibility. So when you come on an experience like this, it's important to listen to the safety briefing when you first arrive, and to follow those instructions. But it's a fun experience. Don't get me wrong, you just gotta understand the risk that you're taking and be prepared to take quick and active measures when the situation arises, if it does. The risk is low, but if it does happen, which it has, it can be chaotic. Tomorrow, we wake up bright and early at 7 a.m. and we're gonna have breakfast. Then we're gonna clean up camp, and we head out of here around 10:30 or 11 in the morning. And at that point, we are gonna get back on the boat that brought us here. We're gonna have lunch on the boat, and then we're gonna go visit the other Russian settlement this time, Barentsburg. All right. On that note, I'm going to get back to my polar bear watch, and that's going to be the end of day 2. I will see you guys for the final day, day 3
tomorrow.
After our 3-day base camp tour, we were picked up by the cruise ship and settled in for some dry warmth, a warm lunch, and a nap. After a few hours, we arrived in Barentsburg and met our guide.
Hi once again, my name is Diana. Today I will be your local guide. So welcome to Barentsburg, and our excursion itself will start a little bit later, middle of December. So right now we need to climb all these stairs.
Barentsburg is a fascinating and a unique place. It's a Russian settlement established in 1920 by Russian settlers called Pomors, known for their expertise in maritime activities, fishing, hunting, and trading. The town is about 55 kilometers southwest of Longyearbyen, the largest settlement on Svalbard. Barentsburg has a population of around 450 people, primarily of Russian descent. Barentsburg is accessible only by boat or snowmobile from Longyearbyen, as there are no roads connecting the two settlements. The town was established as a coal mining settlement in the early 20th century, and the Russian state-owned company Arctic-Kugel, seen here, has been operating the mine since 1932. Walking through Barentsburg feels like stepping back in time with its Soviet-era architecture and atmosphere. You can see a statue of Lenin, an important political figure in the Soviet-Russian history. Tourism is becoming increasingly important. Visitors are drawn to the unique Arctic environment and the town's distinctive Russian culture. Here is the Barentsburg Hotel, where you can spend the night while exploring the town. Barentsburg is quite self-sufficient in that it has its own school of 10 to 30 students, a brewery, and even a hospital that operates within 1 to 2 medical staff. Interestingly, anyone that passes away in this town is transported to mainland Russia or Norway, as the permafrost soil in this town is not conducive to burials, as the remains would surface in just a few years and not only be unsightly but also potentially attracting wildlife. The church seen here was built to commemorate the lives lost during the Russian plane crash that killed 130 inhabitants of Svalbard. Barentsburg has a local gym and a library, the blue building pictured here. The town also features apartment buildings that house its residents, contributing to the sense of community in this unique Arctic settlement. We were lucky enough to spot an Arctic fox on our way out of town. After exploring the town, we arrived at a local bar to enjoy a beer before our return journey to Longyearbyen. The bar had a cozy atmosphere and offered a perfect end to our visit. Barentsburg is truly a unique destination, offering a glimpse into a different way of life in the far north of the world. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me on my Svalbard Adventures Part 2. I just wanted to jump in here one last time quickly to just say what an amazing experience it was. I just spent the last 48 hours with 7 amazing people and learned so much and made new connections, and especially wanted to point out that I learned so much from our 2 incredible guides. They were so knowledgeable about life in Svalbard here and also about the nature and the outdoors that we were literally living in, and it was so much fun. The one thing that stood out to me on this trip, on this camping trip, as compared to other camping trips, was the unique aspect of the polar bear watch. And the reason I point that out is because the risk of the polar bear forced us to have to stay together as a group. There was not a moment this entire experience where we could break off into different groups. And because of that, I felt like it kind of pushed us to spend more time together, spend more time getting to know each other, and just being in each other's presence and just embracing diversity in general. And I found that to be really awesome, for lack of a better word. Really enjoyed the unique aspect of the unity and the camaraderie that it helped us build in just a short amount of time. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw something cool in this video. If you liked it, please feel free to share the video. That helps a whole lot, so I really appreciate that. And don't forget to stay tuned because there's more adventures coming. Thanks so much, and until next time.
Don't want this moment to go. No, I don't want this moment